Hey everybody, it's Jason from the Texas Gun Vault 3, and we're back out here in the garage for I guess what's going to be another commentary video, because I have to respond to some comments I have gotten on some of my recent videos. As you guys know, in the recent past, I made a couple of videos regarding the arrest of Dugan Ashley on, I guess, explosives charges and things. And you guys know what this channel is about and my takes on things, in that I approach things from a different perspective than many of the nuisance streamers, nuisance content creators, the people that are trying to get you excited, angry, upset, mad, and all of the different emotions that can come with social media. I'm somebody that just likes to have an intellectual debate. And as I always say, you are free to disagree with everything I have to say. There is only one rule. You gotta be nice to me. We can discuss ideas. That's what this is all about. I don't call any of you guys names. I don't attack you personally. We're just here to have a good time, talk about guns. And of course, we're not going to agree on everything. So, I've gotten a lot of comments on my videos, and I kind of, as I said, want to respond to them because I'm very disheartened. I'm very sad about something. And I've kind of alluded to this in many of my previous videos regarding a variety of topics. And that is, the gun world is full of people that think with their heart instead of their minds. And maybe it's because of the nature of social media or what other content creators do. All they want to do is get people excited, angry, upset, anxious, sad, whatever it is, because those things get you to click videos. And it allows people, through emotional outbursts, to feel like they're a part of something, that they're part of the thing. You guys remember back when COVID was going on back in 2020? A lot of us that were very hypercritical of the masks called out people that were just essentially drones, that would just listen to people of authority and follow exactly what they said, to the letter, to the T, and we would go, you guys aren't thinking for yourselves. Well, that's the way that I feel from my perspective when it comes to so many people in the gun world. Now, there's not really that many, but it's this vocal minority of people that watch other gun tubers and then come over to my channel and say what they do. Because essentially they get their marching orders from, as I said, nuisance streamers, people that make videos, and then they feel like they're part of this legion. They don't really have all of the information. They think they do, and they know all of the little talking points and the bullet points. And because I make content that maybe they disagree with, they feel like they have to have an emotional outburst. So I wanted to address the three types of comments that I'm getting. One of them is a little bit substantive. The other two, unfortunately, are not. So let's talk about the main one. So, kind of a funny story. I was at the range a few nights ago filming content with this 9th Armament KS3 rifle, which I just filmed the range report on here in the garage, and right now it's rendering. It's going to be uploading here in a minute to be set for release sometime next year. And I was at the range, and all of a sudden my phone here started, buzzing away, and I was like, okay, I wonder what's going on. And I got a few comments on that Dugan Ashley video, which I knew from making that video, I was going to get the drones, essentially, people that really don't know what's going on, don't understand the legal system, don't understand the laws, and just defend every gun tuber no matter what happens because those gun tubers are big or popular or whatever. And so I got a couple of mean comments, and that's whatever. So I would just, delete them or ban them or whatever it was. Don't even really read the comments. And it kept happening. And so what I thought it was somebody that had like multiple accounts that was just really mad at me and wanting to be hysterical and, kind of hyperventilate. Essentially, I just let them kind of burn it out, and they had multiple accounts, whatever. I just let them do it. And then my friend Matt from the Wyoming Gun Project called me, and he goes, dude, they're talking about you. I'm like, who? It's some other guy that has a nightly live stream or whatever. And I was like, well, cool. Well, they can talk about it. And I asked him, I said, well, are they dissecting my opinions and having a substantive discussion? He goes, nope, they're just calling you names. Now, I never even went over there. I've never even heard of the channel before. So I really don't care. And so all the people that were calling me names, it doesn't bother me. It truly doesn't. If you guys don't know, I'm an educator. I've been an educator for like 22 years. And although I typically teach kids that are in middle school and high school, I've taught the entire spectrum when it comes to ages and abilities and mentalities. I've taught a lot of students that have autism, that are on the spectrum, and I have learned that sometimes when people have emotional outbursts, or children have emotional outbursts, sometimes you just let the fuse die out. You just sit there, you don't get upset, you don't get angry, you just kind of ignore it. And eventually the temper tantrum will wind down when they run out of energy. And that's typically the way that I handle this stuff because, as I said, it really doesn't bother me. And then when it comes to the vile names that they call me, I have been called much worse by much better people. So people that I don't even know or interact with that would never say these things to my face don't really bother me. They're just having an emotional outburst. And the reason, as I said earlier, I was kind of disheartened by it is because I'm 46 years old. And being that I've taught in middle schools and high schools, I see what goes on at that age. And I remember being that age and, you know, the way we acted and what we said and did and the way we joked around and so forth. And you realize at some point you grow up, you become an adult. And it's just like that live stream I was talking about a moment ago. People told me what they were saying. And essentially it's a bunch of grown men sitting around calling me a name. Now, you got to remember that I have no power in this. I'm a nobody. Like, I don't work in law enforcement. I didn't arrest Dugan Ashley. I'm not a prosecutor. I'm not a judge. I'm not going to sit on the jury. I don't even live in the same state where all this happened. I'm just some guy in his garage. But yet they're mad at me. Like I could do something. And by them calling me a name, somehow it's going to like change my opinion. For me, all it does is reinforce that possibly what I said really bothered them because it was factual in their mind. They were like, oh crap, maybe he's right. And of course they have the emotional outburst. And instead of being able to debate me on anything of substance, they just come over to my channel and call me a name. As though, as I said, somehow that's going to change my opinion or hurt me or something, you know? As I've said many times, I'm like the most blessed human being you will ever meet in your entire life. You guys have no idea how blessed I am and my journey. And I've had to deal with great evils in my life. You know, as I mentioned before, don't have GunTube heroes because you don't know the history of these people. You don't really know who they are. You guys think you know who I am based off of what I present here on the channel. But you guys don't know the trials and tribulations of my life, the absolute evil that I have faced, the things that I have witnessed. You guys don't know the paths that I have had to walk. And they're pretty dark and they're pretty bad. You know, it's the great battle of good and evil of my life is in the past. And while I still have to deal with demons that manifest themselves in other people that I encounter throughout my professional life, for the most part, I'm the most blessed human being you'll ever see. And I walk tall, I walk proud, I walk confident, and I know that I walk on the side of light and the side of good. And when people want to lash out with names, it's like, you don't even know my history, like how insignificant this is. Now, if you really wanted to try to hurt me, you'd break those arguments that I made down and you do it in a respectful way. But if you end up just always going to name calling in the end, like I've really tried. There was a couple of people that had some dialogue or I tried to have dialogue with. One was in a live stream. And one was recently in the comment section of the video. You know, they weren't necessarily, they were a little aggressive, but they weren't like, you know, calling me names. So I said, okay, I'm going to engage because I'll talk to anybody. And we were trying to have a discussion. Of course, in the end, all they could do is call me a name, accuse me of whatever. And I'm like, hey, that's it. You're gone. You know, as I said, stick to the points. You're free to disagree with anything I have to say. I mean, all you gotta say is, Jason, I completely disagree with you. Here's why. Here's the point you made. What do you have to say about that? Okay, well, I'll respond. It's totally fine. That's what grown men do. And that's what I want to see the firearms community be. Full of grown men and women. People that can have civil dialogue and disagree and still get along. We're all here for the same thing, right? Okay, so there's the name callers. The other thing that I don't think is substantive is people were just attacking me saying, Jason, your channel is so small. And they laugh at that. Or they go, my reach is so small. Like in that live stream, people were telling me that they were talking about how proud I must be because that video got 1,000 views. Ooh. Well, on my main channel, I have videos that are getting close to 1 million views, talking about 1911s and the thing. But I don't make content to be big. And that's the other thing that they don't seem to understand. And I think goes to the heart of the mentality of maybe why they want to defend whoever it is, Matt Hoover, Dugan Ashley, Larry Vickers, FPS Russia, whoever, is they think that the point of creating content, putting it out there, has something to do with being big and famous. And that's not why I do this. I mean, I've been doing this since, what, 2012, 2011? And so I am aware that I'm not charismatic. I'm just who I am, but I enjoy creating this. And as I've said many times, if very few people watch, I'm still going to do it because it's something that I enjoy. It's a hobby. It's something that I create and I have control over. So it doesn't matter if it's big or reaches a lot of people. I don't look at that as a metric. You know, I'm all about quality over quantity. And if the measure of success is how many viewers you get, that's not important because I'm not just battling what I say and the quality of my videos and trying to get them out there. I'm battling YouTube, which is not going to promote what I say. I'm not one of the chosen ones that they, allowed to become big. So I don't fight those battles. I just create something, put it out there, and just let it be. And if I get 100 views on a video and I have great dialogue and great conversations with people in the comment section, completely worth it to me, 100%. I am not trying to change the world. I'm just here to have fun, talk about guns and current events here in the garage. Now, the last thing that people were criticizing me about is the fact that they were saying that I was bringing up the fact that Dugan Ashley was being anti-Semitic. And they're saying it has nothing to do with the court case. And this is one of the things that everyone kept saying, like, oh my gosh, the Jewish state Israel's killing a bunch of people. Guys, I don't care about Israel or Ukraine. I could care less. My whole stake in this is that I don't want the U.S. involved. I don't want U.S. lives to be lost and U.S. treasure to be spent defending other people's land. It's fine. I don't really care. I'm not taking sides. But what I was saying in that video is the fact that he was very anti-Semitic and anti-Jewish is not going to play well in the court of law. That all it takes is for one person that has a Jewish background or has Jewish heritage, they're just going to convict. So you can say that it's irrelevant to the case, and maybe it is, but it goes to the content of his character. And I'm not passing judgment one side or the other because I do believe he has a presumption of innocence. But just because I have to presume he's innocent in the eyes of the law doesn't mean he shouldn't be brought up on charges. You know, you guys don't really see that this was based off of a 3-year investigation. It's not like the ATF or the DOJ or whoever just woke up one day and says, we don't like Dugan Ashley, we're going to make an example of a YouTuber. I mean, to be very honest with you, I didn't even know he was making content anymore. And I had to go find his channel, and it's relatively small, and it's not like he was getting that many views, okay? As I said, that doesn't mean it's bad quality or any of that. I'm just saying, like, I don't really feel like the ATF was trying to make an example out of him because there's much bigger channels that deal with explosives, and they typically do it in a very legal way. There's my dogs. They always bark. You guys know that. Because they go and get licensed. But there's humongous channels that you would think if they wanted to make an example of somebody, they would go after like one of the biggest. Why wouldn't they go and arrest Hickok45 and be like, illicit, like trumped up charges? That's the thing we would say, trumped up charges. Well, why don't they do that? Because imagine the effect going after someone like Hickok with 1 million+ subscribers, what that would do to the gun world. That would be making an example of somebody. But going after somebody that is sick, anti-Semitic, and producing content that is being used by people that are harming others, I don't really feel like is like targeting somebody individually, especially after a 3-year investigation. So I want him to have his day in court. I want him to have a jury and be tried by his peers. I don't want him denied of any of that. Do I think the charges are trumped up? I have no idea, but I can guarantee you that you don't either. You all think you do because some big YouTuber or some live streamer tells you, oh yeah, they're trumped up charges. Oh my God, he's a hero in the community. And it might not. You don't have all of the information that's sealed. You don't have it. You have no idea what they collected in 3 years. You don't. You think you do. Now, I'm not saying there is anything there, but that's why we have a trial. And all this information will get out there. I mean, if he was spending all of his time donating to puppy charities and kid charities and not doing anything that the ATF is saying he did, well, then he'll get off. If he was guilty of something, well, they have to prove that beyond a reasonable doubt to a jury of his peers. I'm not the prosecutor. I'm not the person that signed a warrant. I'm not the person that executed that warrant. I'm not a law enforcement agent. I'm not going to sit on that jury. I'm not the judge. I have nothing to do with that. I'm a nobody. Just sitting here in Texas. This is happening in what, like Missouri or something? So why are you mad at me? Your behavior is odd if you're one of these people because you're just throwing a temper tantrum and it doesn't change anything about my opinion or anybody else's opinion. If it makes you feel good to call me a name, well, go call me a name. Woohoo, big deal, you know? But I like to think that I surround myself with people that are grown adults, right? Grown adults. I try not to act like the people politically that I disagree with. Just like I was talking earlier about the COVID stuff. We all looked at people walking around, even today, with masks on. We go, oh my God, they're such drones. I see drones in the gun world today. They go and they watch one of these live streams or they watch some YouTube channel and everything that they say, oh my God, I know everything about this topic. Now I'm going to go comment on Jason's video. Oh, he's this, he's that. Ah, ha, ha, ha. It's like, you don't know. You don't know what's in the sealed documents. You have no idea. You think you do, but you don't. And logically, I don't think that the DOJ is making an example of him because, as I said, there's other content creators out there doing firearm stuff that are licensed and say, hey, we're licensed. And there's bigger channels that are way more relevant than him that if they really wanted to make an example, they'd make an example of them on trumped up charges. All I'm saying is just calm the F down. Just be a rational, good human being, you know? And why are you mad at me? I have no power in this just because I disagree with you. Oh my gosh, is that worthy of emailing me and threatening my life? Well, apparently to some of you it is, which is crazy that you would even put that down where I had to document it. Yeah, it's kind of weird. Like you don't even know who I am, the life that I've had, what I've done, what I've seen. And you're just mean because of what? A guy on the internet that you're defending that could end up, when all the evidence comes out, could be guilty. We don't know. You know, you guys defended Larry Vickers the same way when he got in trouble. They said, oh, they're just making an example of him, a national hero. And then it turns out he admitted, yeah, I'm guilty. That's what he said. He pled. He's like, yeah, I'm guilty. I'm not even going to fight it. I'm guilty. You guys got me. And a lot of you guys had egg on your face because you defended him thinking, oh my gosh, the big bad DOJ is coming after him. And it turned out he was actually guilty. He admitted it. What do you want me to do? So we don't know how this is going to go. And that's why he gets his day in court. That's why he gets a chance to present evidence. That's why he has to be proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. But you guys forget that just because somebody has the presumption of innocence doesn't mean you can't bring charges against him. They're like, he has a presumption of innocence. Yes, he does in the eye of the court. But if everybody had the presumption of innocence, meaning you could never get arrested for anything, well, then there'd be no point of having law enforcement or prisons because you always have the presumption of innocence, right? So we don't know. All I'm saying is that just based off of the information that I see, using logic and reason, there might be something to this. And I'm also saying that maybe he is not the best example to use as an ambassador for our community. You could love his old content. You can think he's funny. But if you want to get mad at me and call me a name, have your little hissy fit. I don't care. If you want to say you're just jealous of his success, trust me, I'm not jealous of his success. I do this as a freaking hobby. I don't really care, and I do it more for the interactions that I have with my friends than anything else. And you're free not to watch my video. You can click away. You can tell YouTube not to recommend me, whatever. I don't care. I'm still going to be doing this like I've been doing now for 14 years. I'm going to be doing it 25 more years. So I'm not going away. And if YouTube shuts down a channel, I just restart it again and do it again. I've already done that 2 or 3 times. I don't stop. As I tell people, your interactions with me, you'll either discover that I'm an immovable object or an unstoppable force. And when it comes to content creation, I'm an unstoppable force. I'll just keep doing it, and I don't care. You're not going to silence me. You don't have to listen, and calling me a name isn't going to make me stop. Telling me, oh, you must be jealous. I'm not really jealous, because look where he ended up. Right now, he's in jail. I think, based off of the presented evidence, he's probably guilty of something. I'm not. I'm not in that position, so I'm not jealous of him at all. I also think that people like Matt Hoover are not good ambassadors for our community. Now, I do want to give Matt a shout out because he saw one of my videos and he posted it on his channel. And do you know what he didn't do? He didn't call me a name. He said, hey, I completely disagree with this guy. He did what he was supposed to do, and I want to thank him for that. Hey, he showed that he's an honorable person. He's like, hey, I'm not going to call you a name. I disagree with you. And he did a little write-up on it. Totally fine. That's great, and I want to give him a shout-out. So I appreciate that. And I also want to apologize to him because you're right. He didn't make the auto keycard. He advertised it. I still think that he poked the bear. He shouldn't have done it. You guys know my thoughts on all of that. So I will say I got that wrong. So I'm not above saying when I'm wrong on something. And once all the evidence comes out, who knows? Maybe it turns out it's all trumped up charges. But for all you know, on day 1 of the trial, when the prosecution lays out their case, they're going to bring out a bunch of emails where he was telling people to do stuff or disseminating information knowing that it was going to be used to harm people. In fact, in one of his videos, he even said something to the effect of, I know this information is probably going to be used to hurt people. By saying that, you admit it, and you fall right into what the law says, that you are disseminating information with the knowledge it's going to be used in a crime. Then you go ahead and burn the Israeli flag, which, by the way, I don't care about Israel, one way or the other. I don't care. But I don't think that's a wise thing to do because it's not going to help your case. This is a gun channel. We're not here to talk about cars. We're not here to talk about geopolitics. I'm not here to talk about how I feel about certain wars or countries or leaders or any of that, right? Don't care. I don't want the United States in any wars. Right now, I'm a little bit upset that we're dealing with stuff in Iran because I don't want, as I said, our treasure and our blood lost fighting other people's wars. I don't care. But everything I do, everything I say is out in public on this channel. So I think, is this going to help my cause or hurt my cause? And he obviously didn't think that. And once you guys get into an echo chamber, I know what it's like. The reason you guys feel like you can come over here and call me a name or something with impunity is because you and all of your friends feel the same. You're all like a bunch of children. Oh my gosh, we're going to go call him a name. Ah. And you think and laugh. You saw the podcast. I'm part of the thing or whatever it is. But you don't actually engage with people that feel different than you. You don't have to deal with them. It's just this echo chamber. So you feel like you can do it with impunity and like somehow you're part of the majority when in actuality, you're not. So anyway, that's all I wanted to say today. So if you're coming over to my channel to call me a name, you're not going to hurt my feelings. You're just art. I hate to break the news to you. If it makes you feel better, I guess go ahead and do it because it's kind of like masturbation. I guess, you know, you're like, oh, I called him a name. And you can go to your friends and tell them you called me a name. Whatever. Not going to change my mind. Not going to hurt my feelings. I'm still going to make content. Still going to think the things that I do. You can say, oh my gosh, you're so jealous. Oh, I'm not jealous because I've been doing this for so long. And you guys see after 14 years where I'm at. I don't do it for fame or fortune or any of that. So there you go. But The other substantive points is, yeah, I'm going to bring up aspects of his character that I think are going to hurt him at trial. Absolutely, I am. Because I don't think he's a good ambassador for us. We need people that are going to talk just about the Second Amendment, not talk about other things that are irrelevant to our cause. So there you go. So if you made it to the end of this video, which is 26, 27 minutes long. Oh my gosh, it's getting late. I have to go to a gig tonight. You guys know I'm a professional musician. So if you made it to the end of this video and want to participate in my word of the day, the word of the day is going to be nasty. Nasty is the word of the day because so many gun owners are crying. They're nasty. They're nasty to me. They're hysterical. They're emotional. And I'm just going to let them vent like kids. And it's sad because they're grown-ass men, and I would assume that they would behave like such, but they can't. So there you go. So let me know if you have any questions, thoughts, concerns. I would love to know. And as always, thanks for watching.